Here we go. Hello and welcome here. It's Sunday morning, the holiday weekend. Thanks to all the veterans who've served. I think that's the best way to start out. Thanks to all the veterans who have served and gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
It's not been a good week, so let's hope that this show lightens up the week a little bit, as opposed to tears down. But anyway, we'll start off, we do have some NFL news. We actually have a lot of offseason news to discuss. And then, of course, we got our Tinkle on this. It's a good one. It's Memorial Day weekend. I think you'll like it. It has nothing to do with veterans, but it has something to do with America's pastime. So I think you'll like this one. But we start off with our Tinkle rundown. I'll get things started. I let you start last week.
I was about to say, last week it was me, so go right ahead.
All right. So let's start off talking about the Florida baby kittens. And yeah, I did say the kittens because they're nothing but a bunch of hacks, the Florida Panthers. Okay. They play well all year. They get the number 1 seed only to get swept by the defending champs. Hence why I'm wearing the shirt today. And all this without Braden Point, who's still out with a leg injury. Still not disclosed what that leg injury is. So, you know, it's looking good for the defending champs right now. Of course, to my knowledge, as of when we're recording this, we are still awaiting the winner of the Carolina Hurricanes New York Rangers series. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think I like the odds against either team. I mean, Carolina's good. I'll give them credit. Carolina's good. New York's had a miraculous run. They deserve a lot of credit as well. But, you know, I just like the odds of the defending champions in this one. I mean, they got beat up by Florida all year, and then they just went out and swept them. So, I think I like the odds here. But yeah, here's one you'll like, Jason. This is the second takeaway. Jake Paul is back in the news once again. And this time, of course, he has a fight in August coming up, but he wants Glenn Big Baby Davis to be on the card. Not fight up against him, but to be on the card for his exhibition match. First off, isn't Glenn Big Baby Davis going to be playing in the Big 3 League this summer?
I have no idea. Really don't.
Pretty sure he is because he has for like the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Right.
But let's see.
The thing is not everybody has the success like Frank Gore had. Like, Frank Gore has won a couple different times in boxing since he's become a boxer. Kind of odd to see.
Yeah. Well,
a pro football player become a boxer and actually win matches. So,
well, actually, that's not the only thing that Glenn Big Baby Davis is in the headlines for, by the way. He might have broken, or he might have violated his bail by attending the Celtics game the other night. So, this could put a damper on things for that card. But
I don't even want to know what the hell he got arrested for in the begin with.
It was domestic violence. So, I don't know. I don't want to see him on the card. To be fair, and we've long said this on the show and agreed with it, that Jake Paul has made a mockery of boxing. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
He's made a mockery of it. Okay? He's not Muhammad Ali like he claims to be. He's never going to be Muhammad Ali, let alone Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson. Frankly, if he went in the ring with any of them in their prime, he would have gotten his ass knocked out on the first hit.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay?
Probably.
Personally, I would rather see Logan Paul fight than see Jake Paul, because at least Logan Paul has respect for the people that he fights and understands, like, hey, this is going to help me become... What?
I said he respects the business.
Yeah, he wants to become the better boxer, and he's not afraid to get his ass kicked in the process. Okay? Because he says it's a learning opportunity. He said that against Floyd Mayweather. Jake Paul's just out there, fighting scrubs every single time he fights. And then, of course, you wonder why he's undefeated. Well, gee, because he's fighting people that have never boxed a day in their life. Okay?
Huh. That's truthful.
So give it up, I've had enough of the hype surrounding him. More than you know. But anyway,
his YouTube following is stupid as it is anyway. But again, until your third takeaway.
This might go down as the fastest Tinkle rundown we've ever seen. But anyway, let's talk some Rochester Amherst hockey, of course. We've been documenting that through the show for the last couple weeks here, give or take. The Amherst miraculous postseason run has finally come to an end, unfortunately. It ended in a 6-5 loss against the Laval Rocket. Of course, though, that game went to 3 overtimes. They did get swept in a 5-game series. But, looking past it, they honestly got further than they should have. They were down, I was told they were down a defenseman, they were down their captain, and then on top of it, they were down Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, their top goaltender. So, if you look at all of that, they really did get a lot further than anybody expected, and they had a good run. It just makes you wonder, if those players were healthy, how much further could they have gone?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
they probably would have been in the Calder Cup finals, so...
They look like they could have gone that way, and I was skeptical when they hired Seth Appert as the head coach. I want to be clear, I was very skeptical about that. I thought there's no way he's a good coach. Taylor was a way better coach, and he was showing progress when they fired him. But now I see Seth Appert's the right choice. I just hope that the Pagulas don't fuck it up. Because they've done it before, they'll do it again. So, but...
Which is kind of crazy that they, like we talked about multiple different times on this channel, on this podcast, that the Pagulas seem to get it right when it comes to football, but they seem to not get it right when it comes to hockey.
Yeah,
and it's kind of crazy to think that how it is, but football is a whole different outcome. You really like the owners don't really have to be truly super involved. As long as you have a great GM, you know how to get the pieces in place, and then just be the owner. Now, for them being hockey, they kind of had to be a little bit more involved as an owner, bring in the right pieces, bring in the right kind of coaches and stuff like that. So it becomes a little bit harder to, figure out the right kind of progress to go into for hockey. Yeah, they seem to have gotten it right for the Amherst. Now, the real question is, can they do the same thing? Can they find a kind of right body coach with some of the right kind of body players?
Well, it seems like let's be fair. It seems like they found something late in the year, because if you were watching the Sabres, the last half of the season, they really... they were still way below the playoff line, but they at least were putting up some big wins. They were making it exciting, And again, watching the Amherst have success is good for the Sabres. This is really good for them. Now, granted, that's a step up, and look at look at Tampa Bay, Colorado right now. Carolina's starting to become an up-and-coming team. You know, there are 3 teams that are really running hockey right now, as opposed to, you know, I mean, it's still kind of a level playing field, but it's really those big 3 that are the contenders now, I would say, year in and year out. So the question is, I don't think the Sabres are anywhere close to that, but at least, you know, they could end this playoff drought. I think that's what the promise is shown in Rochester right now, is that the Sabres, with these pieces, could end that playoff drought. Again, they have the longest playoff drought in the NHL right now. So, but that's my takeaways. Now you get to talk some NBA playoffs.
Yeah, you know, I really did think that the Dallas Mavericks were going to get honestly swept by the Warriors. I mean, as soon as they got into the Western Conference Finals, I was like, I just don't see the Mavericks doing super well against them. Well, they won 3-0. Then they won Game 4 in Dallas. A great showing. They almost stand there, blew it. They were up by 29 points, and Steve Kerr threw in his bench players, and damn near got the game in their favor. And then Dallas and Golden State both had to send their starters back out, where Dallas eventually did win the game in the fourth quarter. But if you see the game that Game 4 was, if the Dallas Mavericks can keep on playing like that, there could be a chance in hell that they can somehow turn this series in their favor. It's never been done before. A team has never come back from 3-0 to win the whole entire series. Teams are 0-146 when being down 3-0. Well, it's not meaning that it couldn't happen. It'd be something. Could you imagine the headlines? Dallas Mavericks, first team in NBA history
to go down as 3-0. This could go down as worse than the Golden State 3-1 lead. I would say it actually goes down way worse than that. Okay, that looks really bad.
If I remember correctly, the only times that they have lost a playoff series as of late, after, you know, being like that, of course, you know, people always talk about the 2016 NBA Finals.
And rightfully
so. Where, you know, Golden State won the first 2 games, then Cleveland won Game 3, then Golden State won Game 4, and then Cleveland won the next 3 games afterwards.
Well,
so anything is possible. I'm not saying that Golden State can't be beaten. They can certainly be beaten. This team is... The Dallas Mavericks feels like the We Believe Warriors team, and if anybody remembers the Baron Davis We Believe Warriors team of, I think, 2007, if I remember correctly. So anything is possible. But this is also a very depth-heavy Warriors team. So, and you're also playing them on their home court. This is going to be a tough road game.
They haven't lost at all on their home court this entire postseason.
Exactly. 1 and 2. I will say this is going to be a dogfight game. The Mavericks right now are undefeated in elimination games. They are currently 4-0 in elimination games. So the Warriors are not going to get this. If they get this game, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be by easy. It's going to probably be like a 1-point game if they win, some kind of thing like that. Plus, in the 5 games, the 5 elimination type games that the Mavericks have won, Luka is averaging the most points of any player in the NBA postseason, with 36.3 points per game in those elimination games. So if you're going to win this game, you're going to have to contend Luka, and that's not going to be any easy feat because this whole entire playoff series so far, he's been averaging over 30 points a game. He had 2 games where he scored 40 points. He had a couple of games where he had 30, but other than that, it's not going to be easy one. So, could they be the first team? I don't think so. Will they force a Game 6? Very well possible.
I think the Game 6 is likely. Game 7, I don't see a shot. Plain and simple.
See, I will say this now. If they do somehow win this game, Game 6, I could see them picking up. I can see it potentially. I already said it could be a 6-7 game series. It's not out of the question yet.
I think,
of course, when we're talking this, when this episode does air, that series will already be over with.
I feel
so we
like
don't know exactly what's going to happen.
I feel like when this airs, you're going to be saying your tone will change in that it's going to be at least they made this a respectable series instead of a sweep.
Yeah, and I'm happy that it's not a sweep. I'm glad that they are at least that they won one game. If it ends up getting it into where they lose Game 5, at least they made it respectable and didn't get swept. But I will go on to a team that kind of has shocked me a lot this past season. A team that probably shouldn't even be in the Eastern Conference Finals to begin with. Well, Boston won Game 5 by surprising factor. The Heat, I hate to say it, Brian, they shit the bed in Game 5. Under 50% field goal percentage. Super low 3-point field goal percentage. Kyle Lowry and Max Strus combined had a pretty crappy outing in Game 5. So Boston got that win. Maybe it was out of luck more than it was out of skill. But Game 6, it's back in Boston. And if I'm Miami right now, I wouldn't say I wouldn't hit the panic button yet, but you're playing on the road, you're playing in a hostile environment in Boston, the TD Garden. I would kind of hit the panic button here because you're down 3-2. You're playing them in Boston, Game 6 tomorrow. So, or not tomorrow, Friday, I should say. You're playing them Friday. So by the time this airs, don't be shocked if Boston is in the finals.
What I will say is keep in mind during the Disney year when they played the finals in Walt Disney World. If you recall, I said that the Heat did a lot better than anybody ever thought they would do getting to the NBA finals, and I said as long as they make this series, like I just said you might say when this airs, I said as long as this series is respectable, I don't care what happens. Okay. Let me just be very clear on that. This was the Heat-Lakers series a few years ago. This one, I'm sorry, but you play each team a minimum of 2 times in a league year. Technically, you get the same opponent. You get the same opponents as everybody else, just not necessarily the same amount of times as anybody else.
Yeah.
To me, this is inexcusable, okay? This is flat out a meltdown. Now, keep in mind, Jimmy Butler is probably the senior statesman of that team. You look at the rest of the team, Tyler Hero. You look at Bam Adebayo, I believe he's still on that roster. This is a young roster, okay? But so is the Celtics. So where's the excuse, okay? There's no excuse for this, okay?
I think that, yes, the Heat are young, but they're definitely not younger than the Boston Celtics.
No, the Celtics are the youngest team. And here's the thing, again, you said it, the Celtics probably didn't deserve to be there. Can I just be honest, though, that between the 3 of us Tinkle personalities, Marty's probably the happiest right now? Okay.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because keep in mind, for those who don't know, I don't know how much Marty talks about this on No Final Ball, but he is the Celtics fan. Celtics, Steelers. R.I.P. to, Dwayne Haskins. But, we won't talk about that too much here.
Yeah, Marty. If anybody knows, Marty is a Cubs fan on baseball.
Yeah.
He likes, I think, the Oregon Ducks in college football. He likes the North Carolina Tar Heels.
He's got such a broad range of
college basketball. Of course, he likes the Chicago Cubs in baseball. He likes the Steelers in football. He likes the Boston Celtics in NBA. He's all over the place. Let's just say that. But other than that, yeah, I think Boston doesn't deserve to be there. But do they? If they win Game 6, could they be dominant in the finals? I think so. I mean,
I think they could give Golden State a run for their money.
Boston Golden State series would be something to watch. I mean, you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown against Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's must-see basketball right there. I would probably watch it. I would probably root for the Celtics to win their... God, this would be, their 19th title if they win?
I'd just root for the series to be over quick at that point. Because, to be honest, you know this, I don't like either team. Okay, plain and simple. I hate both of those teams. So, I probably won't... Well, not that I was going to watch it anyway.
Honestly,
but,
I hate the Warriors more than the Celtics. So, I would probably root for the Celtics. I think Jason Tatum definitely deserves it. It kind of sad that they gotten so far with Brad Stevens as a GM instead of as a coach. So,
and that shocked me because...
That kind of shocked me too.
When he was hired as a coach, I really didn't expect him to last that long, let alone, have the impact that he's had.
Yeah.
Look at his track record when he was the coach of Butler. I mean, yeah, he got to 2 NCAA finals, but he was 0-2 in both those series. Okay, and I believe one of them, well, to be fair, look at him. I believe one of them he lost to Rick Pitino in Louisville back before the hooker scandal came out there. And then, of course, it might not have been Louisville, but I'll have to look at that. But one of them was definitely against Coach K and Duke. So, but again,
right.
I'd have to look it up just to be certain. But to be honest, I'm just shocked at how far he has come along.
I know.
Yeah. So.
And with a rookie head coach, too. But, again, to my last takeaway, of course, we will talk about NFL news, but if there's one player that's not skipping OTAs, it's this man right here, Von Miller. And he's showing some great prize. He's actually coaching up the young players on the defense, like Gregory Rousseau and a lot of the other defensive ends, which shows great leadership for somebody that's just coming into his first year as a Buffalo Bill. I'm hoping the Bills make him a captain because if you're already going in there and willing to coach and mentor the young guys, you already are winning in my book.
It's going to happen, and that's what they brought him in for. But before I continue on that, I do want to clarify, it wasn't Louisville. It was Jim Calhoun and the Yukon Huskies that he lost to the second time. So I just want to clarify on that because it was going to stick on me. But again...
What, NCAA finals?
Yeah. First year it was to Duke. Second year it was to the Yukon Huskies. And that was, I believe, Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker, yeah. I was about to say, I remember when Yukon won with Kemba.
So,
it was, in 2009?
So dare I say, looking at the fact that Kemba Walker was on the Celtics... dare I say that Brad Stevens just pulled a "if I can't beat him, I'm gonna sign him" move? So,
yeah, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure he's happy he doesn't have Kemba Walker because when he hit Kemba Walker on the Boston Celtics, the Celtics absolutely sucked ass.
That's true.
Now that he's in New York, I'm sure he's glad I don't have to worry about that disaster.
Yeah. Dodged a bullet with that one, but
going back onto the topic.
To Von Miller, that's what they brought him in for.
That he's helping them out. Yes, it does help their progression out because Gregory Rousseau in his rookie year had some promise there. If you learn under Von Miller, which I'm sure Gregory Rousseau will be the other edge rusher along with Von Miller, I'm seeing great things because if he can teach him how to get to the quarterback really well and teaching him some moves, I'm truly ready to see what this Bills team can do. I'm really thinking that they're going to shock a lot of people this year. I know it's still early. It's organized team activities. Anything can happen. Injuries usually typically happen around training camp and OTAs and all that other stuff. Anything can happen. But right now, from what I'm seeing a lot of good things. The offense looks like it's picking up where it left off. Yes, I know it's OTAs, but at least if they're showing that they're willing to pick up where they left off in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course I don't like to talk about it much, but if you're picking up where you left off with the connections with Josh Allen and Gabe Davis, I'm expecting big things out of the Buffalo Bills. Will I say Super Bowl? I can't guarantee that yet. Of course, the season hasn't started yet, but from what I'm seeing some great promise. Will they be in the playoffs? Oh, you better bet your sweet starry ass that they're going to be in the playoffs again. How far are they going to get? Again, we don't know. The season hasn't started. We don't even know who's going to be in the playoffs. But right now, I'm thinking that this defense is going to be a powerhouse this coming season. There was a reason that they were number one last year. I think this time that they're going to be one of the best teams. I think that the opponent points per game is going to be a lot better this year than it was years prior, especially last year. So
again,
don't be shocked if opposing teams have some struggling times putting up points against this Bills team. That's all I can say.
And again, we'll try to have an NFL kickoff special to go more in-depth on all this. But should I also say that this week's going to be a busy week for Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, as you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
This Wednesday will be the match. Now, whether you like golf, and I know you don't like golf, but let's face it, I'm going to be watching that, okay? Tom Brady has already teased that there's going to be a lot of trash talking.
1st? Yeah, it's June 1st, right?
Yeah, so Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., I'm definitely going to be watching that, okay?
I unfortunately can't watch it. I'm working, so as much as I would love to, I can't.
See, let's face it. Okay, whether you like golf or not, you're watching it for the trash talking more than anything else.
Yeah, of course.
But before we wait, let me just be sure you're all set as we got it. Sorry, I'm just waving real quick.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hi.
So.
All right, but yeah, so if you're all good, let's just make a prediction right now, okay? So again, it's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Who do you think's going to win that match?
I would think that the old Bucks would beat the young blood because nothing against golf. It usually typically means like the older you usually are, the better you are as a golfer. I mean, I would think that Josh Allen and Mahomes are some pretty good golfers. But if I had to put my money on anything, I'm putting it probably on Rodgers and Brady more than I am Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. If this was like a 2-on-2 like flag football, my money would be on Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Well, of course, because they're much more mobile than the other two.
But if this was with it golf, my money has to be on Rodgers and Brady. I would think that they're pretty decent golfers. Of course, I have never seen how they are as golfers, so I would not absolutely know. But
should I just point out that this is Tom Brady's third match on TNT? Keep this in mind. They've done the match for the last few years. Tom Brady, with Phil Mickelson, I believe, a few years, he was 0-2 in the match. Okay, he's 0-2 in TNT's The Match. So,
and that don't mean anything. He's got Rochester's time. So
And Rodgers, I believe, won the last time he
yeah,
played
see,
the match.
that's what I'm getting at.
So-
Rodgers should be his backbone. I think I'm going to go
If you
with
can't
Rodgers
beat him, join him.
over Mahomes and Allen. I know. A Bills fan going against Allen. Well, let me tell you something. This is different.
See, I just hope for a good match. To be honest, I can see Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers winning. I think it'll be by a stroke, but I'm excited to see the trash talk like everybody else is because you know it's coming. Okay?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I guarantee you the first time they tee off, there's going to be some sort of joke between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes about a coin toss backstage about who's teeing off. Something along those lines is coming. You know it is. Okay? There's gonna... It's not going to go to bed, this match, but...
Probably be some joke about 13 seconds because both of them, both Allen and Mahomes know all about the 13 seconds thing.
God.
So
I mean, but I only say that because let's look back at the Manning and Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady match. Keep in mind in that one, Peyton Manning looked into the camera. He said, man, I think I want to figure out who should I make my caddy. And he listed off one person. Tom Brady didn't flinch. Then he's like, oh, maybe my brother Eli. Again, Tom Brady didn't flinch. And then he's like, oh, wait, I got it. I think I'm going to make Nick Foles my caddy. And the second he said that, Tom Brady stopped dead in his tracks. So, again, I think, there's no boundaries in the match, okay? So, but with that...
Of course there never is. There never will be, I don't think.
That's why we love it. So, we'll go to break.
Of course.
When we come back, we'll talk some of the NFL offseason headlines. And then we got our Tinkle on this. But we'll be back here in just a moment. All right, OTAs, they have kicked off, and without two big-name quarterbacks, of course, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Keep in mind, this is a contract year for both those players, if I'm not mistaken. Kyler Murray has made it clear that if they're not going to give him $280 million, he's leaving. But Lamar Jackson's a surprise. What does this mean for the Ravens?
It don't mean anything. Because there's been players that have sat out of OTAs before and, end up showing up for training camp. Yeah, I get it. It's a contract year for both. They want their money. But the saying goes, if you want to get paid, you go out there and you show that you deserve to get paid. Because if you go out there and you play like absolute crap, the team doesn't want to sign you to a contract extension or give you max money. What is it, why is this sport gotten so soft where all these players are like, I deserve this, like, X amount of money, this, kind of incentives and all this other stuff. Just go out there and play the damn game. Like, just be grateful that you're playing professional football and to begin with. Like, nobody, every time they get into the league, they never think about, what they had to do to get there in the first place. Like, you had to work your ass off to get there. Like, then, now you work your ass off to get a contract extension. Then once you get that, you're like, I got the money. I don't really care what happens afterwards.
Yeah. Let me be clear. They want this money. They want the Super Bowls. But every single time they get the money, they just go and get their ass kicked by a 45-year-old quarterback in Tampa. Okay?
Yeah, because he does the right
exception
thing.
of last year.
He takes the pay cuts so then they can sign the players around him.
Okay. Here's the thing. The only person who's actually earned that kind of money is the 45-year-old guy in Tampa Bay. Okay? If anything, he should be the one getting the $280 million contract. But no, he won't take that. Okay?
No, because for him, it might be an old school type of mentality.
Yeah.
He's not all about the money. He's all about playing the sport that he loves. And that's how it should be.
Him and Mahomes are the only two that should even vouch for that kind of contract. okay? Because Mahomes has won a ring, okay? When's the last time ever that Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray have ever gotten anywhere close? Guess what? None of them have made the championship as a spoiler. I don't even think either of them have made it past the divisional round. Another spoiler.
Nope.
Okay, so let me just put it this way. When you can make it past the championship round, here's the thing, especially for Lamar Jackson right now. I get he's a league MVP. That wages a little bit more.
How about we say this now? If you can even get, well, actually, I think both. Well, no.
Kyler Murray never won league MVP. He was.
That's right. He only won the Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm. But Rookie of the Year don't mean anything when it comes to the table, okay?
Right. How about this? The only time that you should deserve that kind of money is if you can get your team to the conference championship. See,
but if you get your ass handed to you every single year that you go there, I don't think you deserve that kind of money.
Well, now, let me tell you, the same thing can be said, well, Josh Allen probably doesn't deserve the money. Yeah, I mean... Josh
Allen, I mean, he was third in MVP voting, I think, the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. Some could be said that he deserves maybe 75% of that money that Kyler Murray's asking for. Okay. Granted, they did not win a Super Bowl in his rookie contract. Okay. But look at his rookie. I mean, let's face it. If you recall, last year I said when they were going to the table, one good year doesn't justify a good contract. But look, he's backed it up this year. He went toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the playoffs. And frankly, very well could have beat him if the coin toss went the other way. So, as of now, I'm going to withdraw my comment on Josh Allen making that kind of money. Lamar Jackson is 0-2 and has gotten his ass whooped every single time in the playoffs by Patrick Mahomes. He's come nowhere close to beating him.
And also lost to the Bills in the divisional round.
And as far as Kyler Murray, he's had DeAndre Hopkins the last 2 years. He had Christian Kirk, a decent receiver in his own right. And last year he had A.J. Green and Zach Ertz. Where's the excuse for that? Okay, where's the excuse?
And I'm pretty sure didn't both teams miss out on playoffs last year too?
Kyler Murray made it, and I think he lost. Or no, he didn't. I think they did miss it, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, Baltimore missed it in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But I know
because it was Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, but Baltimore didn't.
But never forget, midway through the season, we were talking. Oh, no, they lost in the wild card round to the Rams.
Oh, that's right. But still.
But never forget, they were faring very well. Keep this in mind. They were faring very well against, the NFC. They had no DeAndre Hopkins. They had no Kyler Murray for a great portion of the season. And in the crucial stretch in the middle of the season. And they were winning games, okay? We said on this show it wouldn't shock us to see Cliff Kingsbury as Coach of the Year, and then it just dismantled at the end of the season, okay?
Now this is going to be my final point before we go on to the next thing. They didn't dismantle towards the end of this year. Then, if they went somehow kind of did well and got into the playoffs, then maybe I would say, okay, maybe Kyler Murray can kind of earn some extra cash. But since they dismantled and lost in the wild card against the Rams, I'm going to have to see it. If Kyler Murray goes out there and has another season where he does so well and then crashes towards the end of the year, you don't deserve Jackson.
Yeah, and he got hurt.
But if he can have a consistent year where he can win games, get to the playoffs, and win a playoff game, then maybe you can give him
and a big playoff game. Big playoff game. Not one of those little, like, 2 versus 7 where the 7 was lucky to get in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, they need to win a meaningful playoff game, like divisional versus the Rams or the Bucks, for me to really be convinced.
That's what's a tough one, but a quarterback that we didn't see that would be in the news this week
let's be fair. He's always in the news, okay? He's always in the news. But this time for an actual workout.
But this time for an NFL team. I don't want to get too super political here, but how much of this is because of everything that's gone on with stopping the hate and stuff like that?
The Raiders have had interest in Kaepernick for a few years now, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the thing with Gruden came out. It's tough for me to justify a guy who hasn't played in the league. Now, granted, everything, let me just be clear. What Colin Kaepernick has done for social injustice doesn't go unnoticed.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay? But what he's done in his time since leaving the NFL, let's face it, he's lived rent-free in a lot of people's heads. Mm. And it's just, I'm getting so sick of seeing him constantly on First Take and on Undisputed, constantly being debated. Is he going to come back to the league? The second his name pops up, it's always a debate. Oh my gosh, and it's the same ending every single time. You know? To be honest, I'm not making much out of this workout.
I'm going to say this now. I think that he'll actually get signed by the Raiders.
And he'll get cut by the end of the preseason.
That's at this point, why not give him a chance to see if he can prove himself as a backup?
But if we're going to give him a chance, shouldn't we go back and give Vince Young a chance? Because Vince Young got screwed out of the NFL too. I mean, granted, he didn't get screwed the way Colin Kaepernick did. But
yeah, but Vince Young hasn't been anywhere close to being related to the NFL. But there is one man that's certainly involved in the NFL. I know we didn't have this written down, but I don't know if you've been seeing it. The 48-year-old Terrell Owens wants to try to get back into the NFL. Says that he thinks he can still provide production to an NFL team at his age. He is currently playing in the 7-on-7 arena.
The fan-controlled league, right?
Fan-controlled league.
I can't with him.
Where he finally got his first win.
I can't, man.
I know. I can't really either, but
both him and Kaepernick are just like those guys. They're like those termites. Not that I want to call them termites. Actually, let me take that back. That could be seen as wrong.
This might be a man that you might know. Guess who Terrell Owens is catching passes from in the fan-controlled football league?
Money Manziel.
Johnny Manziel is his quarterback that he's catching passes from.
They fit perfectly in the basket.
You never thought that would ever happen, right? You never thought, Terrell Owens would be catching passes from Johnny Manziel. Well, yeah, it's happening.
I'll take back my initial comment because I was about to say something about termites, but they're just those. Colin Kaepernick and Terrell Owens are just those two that no matter how much you think that we're done talking about them, they just keep reappearing with new heads. Okay? And again, I'm not talking about what they've done off the field. I'm talking about the fact that they keep popping up in the headlines as far as coming back to the NFL. That's what I'm referring to. Before anybody flips this and turns this into a race bait, because that's not why I think they shouldn't be back in the league. Okay? If you want to know the real reason why I think they shouldn't be back in the league, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played in 5 years. And on top of it, every single time he was offered a workout, he insisted he was worth $20 million and deserved to be a starter. Okay? Two things of which he's never proven.
And now all of a sudden he's changed his mind. Like, well, I'm willing to be a backup now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you said that 5 years ago, you would probably be with a team right
Yeah.
now. Just saying.
Exactly. I think that alone is, the big reason with Colin Kaepernick. As far as Terrell Owens, where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, do I start with his age, or do I start with the fact that he did really crappy on the Seahawks and couldn't even keep that job? Okay, the truth is, it's just, you're 48 years old. I mean, you're not Tom Brady that can play until he's like 80. You know,
See, no crap 7-on-7 arena football is going to be easier on a 48-year-old man. There's less contact in it.
Yeah. Thing is, he'd be fine playing in the USFL right now, too. He'd be better off playing there.
When it comes out next year. Shit.
Play back in the XFL, okay? You want to really prove yourself, go play in one of those leagues. And keep in mind, the XFL is technically a partner with the NFL right now.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
So you really want to get back into it. Put your name in the ring.
You know, with everything that's going on right now, you're looking at all these leagues. You didn't have these leagues like 10 years ago. Now all of a sudden you have XFL, USFL, Fan Control Football League, you have the NFL. You have quite a lot of leagues that you can try to help progress you. It's kind of like these minor league, type of leagues that can help you get into the pros for NFL. So I'm kind of grateful that they do have other options for players. Like when you come out of college, I can go here, or if a team, I think what the NFL should do is partner with a lot of these other ones. I don't think you're professional. Yeah, we drafted you. You're not really to where we see you as a professional football player, and send them to an XFL or USFL or the Fan Control Football League. See what they can do there and progress through the game before you can have them into the pros. You know what I mean? I would like for them to even do that with the XFL. Okay, we drafted you. We're gonna try you out at the XFL, see how you can do there, and then if we think that you're ready, we'll call you up to, the NFL, and I can see a lot of that happening.
Yeah, that would be cool. But let's wrap this up today with another player back in the headlines, and this one actually deserves to be on a roster. Not that if Kaepernick earns his way onto the Raiders, that's great. It's great for football. It's great, for everything. But this guy, of course, keep in mind, a former Super Bowl MVP, also goes by the name of, should I say it on the air? No, I shouldn't. So Nick Foles and Frank Reich have officially reunited in Indy. Of course, keep in mind they just got Matt Ryan. So chances are Nick Foles won't be in line to start. No shock there. But now, does this put the pressure on Matt Ryan to play well?
Yeah, I think so. But Matt Ryan has proven that he is a very good starter. And was given the right opportunity, and I think that he can excel very well in Frank Reich's system. Because at least now he won't have to throw 30, 40 times a game just to have any luck. Now you have a player like Jonathan Taylor and others where the pressure to throw it and be a quarterback is not going to be on your shoulders completely. So I think that Matt Ryan's going to have a lot better success in Indianapolis this season than he did in Atlanta last season. So, because Atlanta has something that Indy does have. Not a good starting running back.
And should I just also add, in there. We're talking about Matt Ryan, but is Carson Wentz now punching air? Because, again, for the second time, I believe, in his career, I'm sorry, Nick Foles got chosen over him again in some ways. I mean, granted, the Eagles should have kept Nick Foles to begin with over Carson Wentz, and the last few years have shown exactly why. So,
I mean, look at what Carson Wentz did with Indy. He had a decent year. They almost made playoffs with Carson Wentz. So, if Frank Reich has shown me anything, that he can take whatever quarterback he gets in the system and makes them into stars. Expect the same thing with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is a proven, he can sling the football down the field. Now, can he be like a Phillip Rivers type of quarterback where they did make the wild card when lost to the Bills? Probably not, but
let's be fair.
Is he an upgrade from Carson Wentz? Definitely.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. I think the expectation is this team will make the playoffs. I mean, looking at what Tennessee has lost this offseason and looking at, I don't want to say that Indy really made any big gains, but the fact that Jonathan Taylor alone, and then, of course, you got Pittman still, let's face it, the expectation is there that it looks like Tennessee, unless something big happens, I just don't see them winning the division, okay? I could see them making a wild card, possibly, but again, that's a tough stretch.
I know Tennessee is going to rely a lot more on Derrick Henry than I think they have in years past.
Yeah, but at the very least, though, for Indy, if something were to happen to Matt Ryan, and God forbid that does, you got a guy, again, who's familiar with the system. You've also got a proven backup. Now, not that Matt Ryan needs a proven backup to teach him the ropes, but he's got a guy who can kind of, help take his game, his currently decent game to a little bit of a higher level, because look at what Carson Wentz did before the ACL injury with Nick Foles as his backup. And he actually played a lot better, in my opinion, when Nick Foles was on the bench. So maybe, just maybe, that kind of impact will be had again.
Yeah, I think so.
But with that, let's get on to Tinkle on this. So, of course, in Gastonia, I believe this is a North Carolina minor league team. Of course, sometimes baseball teams like to do the first pitch as kind of their ceremonial start to the game. Well, this one looked a lot like, if you remember, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. His first pitch with the Mets, how it went wide to the right. Well, the same thing happened. Went way wide of the plate. I just want to say tip of the cap to you, whoever threw the first pitch. They didn't release a name, so I don't know. But the fact that you just pulled a 50 Cent, you can take the Tinkle on this honors this week.
Yeah, definitely.
It was wild. Oh my gosh. There was another one I saw that went over the safety net there and into the crowd. That's how bad the pitch was. But, of course, that's like 2 weeks old, so I didn't want to use that one. But that one didn't slip through the cracks. Okay? Just want to be clear. It didn't slip through the cracks. It just went over our heads. All right. On that note, what's coming up this week with no final bell?
Well, no final bell is heading on to Double or Nothing, one of the bigger pay-per-views. So I'm sure that this week is just going to be super big build. We know a lot of the matches are on Double or Nothing. 2 more will be getting announced, of course, Rampage and Dynamite, as the semifinals will be happening. So definitely look forward to it if you're a wrestling fan, Double or Nothing. Non-Final Bell will have a pay-per-view special as well as the regular episode because of Double or Nothing. So definitely be ready for that. What is coming up on Out of Turn 4?
I thought that was last week. I just want to state before I begin. So that's my bad for advertising it in advance, like that far in advance.
Nope,
but,
that will be next week, not this week.
I just want to clarify that. But anyway, of course, we mentioned, keep in mind, as you're watching this, the Monaco Grand Prix is currently going on. If not already finished, I don't know. But Monaco, then of course, in a few hours, we will have the greatest spectacle in all of racing, the Indianapolis 500. And then, of course, tonight we will have the Coca-Cola 600. Well, we get to recap all of that for you on Tuesday. And then on top of it, we got some big news. Of course, Trackhouse Racing announced their Project 91 starting in 2023 with one event on the 2022 calendar. And I'll be at that event, by the way. But you'll never believe who they signed as the driver. It is a former F1 world champion that will be driving at Watkins Glen. That's all I will give away. You'll have to tune in to Out of Turn 4 to learn who that driver is if you haven't already. This will be fun. So again, we're on the air. Out of Turn 4 is on the air Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Facebook Watch. His show, Jason's show, No Final Bell with Marty as well. That is on, well, actually, why don't you just tell us when it's going to air, because the specials and whatnot.
Usually Wednesdays. Of course, with the pay-per-view special coming up this week, it's probably going to be pay-per-view special probably earlier on Wednesday, and then, of course, later Wednesday will be the regular show. We're going to try to have it as that. I'm really hoping so, at least. That's the plan, at least. You know, life does happen, so.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping to have it, you know, both out on Wednesday. So
tune in for that. And again, we want to thank you for watching. We'll get to see each other tomorrow for some nice hot dogs and burgers. But we hope that the rest of you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. And again, thank you to all the veterans who have served and gave the ultimate sacrifice. Remember, that's the reason for this long weekend. But we will be back next Sunday, and we might just have the NBA Finals figured out. Actually, correction, we will have the NBA Finals figured out.
Yeah, we should have the NBA Finals all figured out by then.
Yeah, we'll have that. We'll probably have some more NFL offseason drama. And, of course, we'll definitely have some Stanley Cup drama coming your way next week. So until then, guys, goodbye, everyone.
Peace out, bitch.